What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Best Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Russler. Joining me this week is my friend Michael Yetman via Zoom out of Nashville. He runs a local showcase every Thursday called Nashville Hot Comedy. You should definitely check it out if you're in the Nashville area. But I wanted to attempt to do a Zoom podcast because I've never done one before. And he was kind enough to sit down and help me out. I think it's fun. It was a good one. I definitely want to keep doing more of them and branch out to more and more comedians further away from the St. Louis area. So if you're interested in doing a podcast, but you know that you can't make it up to St. Louis or from wherever you are, hit me up. Let's try to set something up. I think it's a fun episode, and I think I got everything kind of worked out. So, yeah, enjoy this. Enjoy the show. This is our second attempt at this because I didn't realize that Zoom is only free for like 40 minutes, and then after that it's
Tough
too bad.
titties.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to pay $150 a year. So
It's a FaceTime.
yeah, right, to use a somewhat convenient tool.
Yeah.
I don't even remember. We were talking about people throwing litter out. And I'll be honest, the more I think about it, the more I think that is like the ultimate garbage human being move. Like
Well, yeah,
that's
because you're just affecting other people. There's
yeah.
no,
Well, I mean, same could be said about your leaving your shopping cart around or drinking while pregnant. Like it's totally. I don't care what about the consequences. I don't care about anybody else. This is a me moment, and
yeah.
that drives me nuts. But yeah, littering is bad. Like I don't know. There are times where, like, if I'm driving down the highway and all of a sudden I see a piece of trash like shoot out of the back of someone's truck, I'm like, all right, well, that wasn't intentional. It's still you shouldn't have, probably thrown your trash back there, but whatever. But when like you're at a stoplight and you see a hand come out and just drop like a whole combo meal out the window, oh,
And
that
look, I'm
drives me.
not look, I'm not saying that I'm not without fault here because I have definitely like you ever drive with your windows down and realize you got a plastic bag or something in your car that you didn't realize and it blows out the window and you're like, fuck.
Oh no, yeah, you're
Yeah,
like
yeah.
ah.
I'm not
So
saying I'm blameless. And look, young Michael definitely threw a thing or two out his car window.
oh,
But as
garbage.
I've gotten older and aged and understood things, I'm like, oh, that's the lowest form. That's the lowest form you can be.
The lowest form of entertainment. This is the um
Now my caveat is unless you see a bunch of prisoners doing highway cleanup, in which case unload.
so you say if you see people in orange vests with the little pokey poles, you're just you're
Well,
un you're
they gotta
unloading
stay
it.
busy. They gotta stay busy.
Yeah, that's true. That would
You don't
be
want them to.
that would be miserable to be on highway pickup duty and there's nothing to pick up.
Yeah.
Because you're like, now I just have to stand here for the next three. At least if there was a bunch of trash, you'd be like, all right, well,
Well,
let's get this done.
I
And
can at
then
least see what free people are eating.
I did a comedy competition last night in Marion, Illinois, and I had to drive past a prison, and I just watched them all walk around the track like all sad, and I was like, oof, that's rough. That is rough. But then again, I drove 4 hours round trip for 5 minutes on stage. I got first, won $40, and then spent $34.69 on gas. But you know what? I was happy with it. And I was like, ooh, I'm good. Look at me. My career is moving forward.
I also just did a comedy contest and I didn't win. But can I tell you that well, one, I always forget comedy contests. There's that bringer element.
Oh, they're the worst thing ever invented.
Yeah,
I mean, just the
they don't gauge accurately. But I had to laugh because there was a guy who was there and he was like coming up and like networking real heavy with everybody. I'd never seen this guy. And he comes up and he introduces himself, and then I watch him go on stage because he's the first guy, and I'm curious. I've never seen him before, and it was bad. It was a bad set for sure. But like it was bad in that way of like, are you a comedian or are you whatever? And so he comes backstage after, and I'm sitting in the green room, and this guy is pale as a ghost, and kind of like trimmery hands. I go, "Hey man, how did it go?" And he goes, "I crushed it," which he did not. But I asked him, I was like, "So how long have you been doing stand up?" He's like, "Oh, this is only my sixth time doing it."
Oh,
And I was
fun.
like, "Oh, that makes it's so funny to be in comedy long enough to like somebody says something like, 'Oh, this is only my sixth time,' and you're like, 'Oh, okay, I can gauge where you're at. Never mind. I know why you think you crushed it.'"
Oh, okay, yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
why you look sick when you came off stage.
That it's I don't know, man. The big St. Louis competition's about to start up soon, and I'm not I'm not saying I'm not excited for it, but it's just like the only people I know in this city are comedians. So
Yep.
they're like
Yeah.
it's and then you always get the people that show up and they're like, I'm gonna do comedy for the very first time ever, but I brought 47 people to the show, so
Hmm.
I'm moving on to the next round. And you're like,
Yep.
fine,
Yeah. Yeah.
fine.
And you're like, okay, well, I'm going to go home and continue working on the material that I've been paid to do in other places.
Yeah.
So, all right, enjoy that big, because like this one, ours was like a $2,000 cash prize.
The one here, you if you win, you get a paid feature weekend, I think, is like the big reward for like a headliner. But it's like
Uh,
I'm already featuring here. Like
yeah.
so
Yeah. It's just a date on the calendar at that point. It's just you doing a date on the calendar.
yeah, I guess it's just for clout. I mean, but I don't know.
You should just start putting it anyway, putting it on like your info when you send out and be like, St. Louis's funniest comedian.
Some people do.
Sure, why not?
Some people do.
Yeah, I mean,
I've heard it.
nope,
I've
nobody fact checks. I
no.
could I could put Music City's premier dirty comedy, and no one's gonna fact check to see if I'm the dirtiest comic in Nashville. Which, by the way, I'm not.
No, I was about to say you are far from. Do you remember that super fun show you took me to where the guy on PCP interrupted it and then we had to end it because the cops had to come and arrest him?
At the legendary East Room. Yeah, but how about this though? Because you got a rare moment where you watched a room get won back over because of like four people that refused to let the energy die.
Yeah.
The musicians kept playing, and then Kyler Finney went up and did an impromptu making up a song about kicking out the crackhead.
Fantastic song. Fantastic
Beautiful
song.
moment. I still have the video on my phone.
I do
It's a
too.
great
I
moment.
do too.
Yeah.
I sent it to him and I was like, this was the funniest thing I saw all night. I was like, congrats, man. That was pretty awesome. Yeah, I mean,
How
it was
great.
get the crackhead out so we can keep telling jokes. And then they're
Yeah.
just da 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 da. Oh, dude, it was so. Now that I think about it, we were talking shit, but now that I think about it, I'm like, yeah, actually, you know what? I've been to worse.
Yeah, from a comedy
I've
standpoint,
been to
it
worse.
sucked. It sucked to see the show get shut down, but
Did I tell you?
from
Did I tell you about the time that I was working the door at the comedy club in Cape, and we were doing an open mic, and a guy came in with a child, like a 3-year-old child, and this is 10:30 at night on a Wednesday, and
Mhm.
he was like, "I want to sign up," and I was like, "Okay, but you can't bring the kid in here. Like this is a bar. You can't have a child in here." And he was like, "I'm gonna fucking stab you." And I was like, "Okay, well now neither one of you can come in." And then, yeah, I mean that was his. I'm not kidding you. That was his first and only reaction was, "I'm gonna fucking stab you." And I was like, "Okay, well neither one of you can come in, so we're gonna have to go outside now. And if you don't leave, we're gonna call the cops." And he was sitting there and he was like pacing back and forth, but like 10 feet away from me, but he looked like a tiger at the zoo, just like pacing and just glaring at me. And the whole time I was just looking at this little girl in a tutu, and she was just kind of like twirling while her dad is
Just being a kid.
just hurling like those, it's you fucker, blah, 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 every slur in the book, waiting for the cops to show up. And the whole time I was just like, this little girl is going to grow up to be hilarious.
Yeah, she's going to be an incredible
She's going to
comedian
be
one
the
day.
best comedian of all of us. And it made me a
Oh, I'm
little
sorry, a
jealous.
comedian.
Yeah, oh, sorry.
I do love that that's his Eminem moment. He's just like out front. He's got a piece of paper he's been writing on for months on end for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then he got there and he's like, nothing's going to stand in my way.
It's
I
just,
know something about you. Let me in or I'll stab you.
yeah. I just love that he's out there, but instead of like lyrics,
Yeah.
like, it's just like penis question mark. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Dating's weird.
Dating. What's the deal with?
Do you know how hard it is to have an anger problem being a single father and trying to date? Crazy, right, ladies?
Am I right? Go back to sleep, sweetheart. We'll be home later. Yeah.
I want to know where else he's taking that child that he has no option but to take her to. He like shows up to his job at P&G and he's like, they're like, David, how many times we got to tell you that she cannot be on the floor? She knows she's got the iPad. She's fine.
It's okay. It's all right. I turned on Bubble Guppies. She'll be all
Yeah.
right. Just sitting there around heavy machinery. She at one point the iPad dies and she just gets on the assembly line and starts boxing up diapers and like variety boxes of chips and stuff. And
There's a floor manager like this kid is incredible.
This kid's
Maybe
fantastic.
the Chinese are onto something.
Yeah, she's taking a smoke break and they're
She's
like,
ripping a dart in the yard.
yeah.
Boy, I tell you, if they don't
Hey,
give us some union opportunities, I'm gonna really be losing my shit out here.
Hey, Cindy, could we talk to you for a second? And she's like, sure, I guess. And you walk in. Hey, you're really killing it out there on the floor today. Would you ever be interested in, like growing your position here at P&G? We think that you have some real potential. I have never seen anybody box up peanut butter like that before. It's been a real pleasure working with you this week. We're gonna miss you when you go back to your mom's. And she's like, well, every other weekend I'm available, if you want to book me.
Yeah, she's picking up swing shifts on every other Saturday.
She's got a planner but a crayon, and she's like, yeah, I think I can pencil you in. Yeah, let me
She
get
pulls out a candy cell phone.
Yeah, it's a jitterbug.
I do have that block building seminar at daycare, but I guess I could really push that and come back out.
Let me let me reschedule my coloring in the lines class, and I think I can work the dock.
It just gets real like salty. I'm like, damn, Don, you're really scratching my nuts here on this one. I don't know. It just starts talking like all those factory guys. I don't know, man. You're really dragging my dick along some sandpaper here. Can you give me a break, man? I'm union. You know that, right? I'm union.
I'm also 4. I don't
I'm
know.
also-
I don't know if that helps.
I can't really sign. I can't sign any paperwork because I don't know how to spell my name.
Yeah, Cindy, what the hell? You were supposed to send those. You're supposed to send off all those packages to Paris, Texas last week. Oh, well, in my defense, I can't read.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
In my defense, Don, I'll be honest with you. I didn't even know there was a Paris or that it wasn't spelled with a W.
Paris with a W.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh, you're sending those out to Paris, Texas?
Paris?
Paris?
Oh, these bags are going to Paris. Oh, City of Whites.
It just says to Eiffel Tower. It doesn't even have any other address on it. It's just a picture of the Eiffel Tower. Yeah. It is funny though, because like when you're at these contests and stuff and you're around these comedians, it's funny to watch how people change. Like to me, it was just another show. It was just another show, another opportunity. But like you'll see people and like it affects the audience too, I think, comedy contests, because they want to laugh, but they also are like, I only get one vote. I only get one vote.
Yeah. Well,
And
it's
so then it
also
becomes like a weird rating what you do based on is it good enough for me to vote? As if your vote has it's like the American election.
yeah,
Zero
yeah,
value.
exactly. I was about to say it's got the American Idol effect, where
Yeah.
people want the person they voted for to go on, but they also want the people they don't like to get their hopes dashed. Which, I mean, I get it. It is kind of fun to watch someone be like, "Really? Man, I've been working weeks for this." And you're like, "Eh."
Do you know how much of a bummer it must be to sit there and realize your friend is not good at comedy, but you have to vote them through because you know they're going to ask
Here's the thing:
after?
you don't have to. You don't have to. You don't
I
just
know,
tell
but
them. Just be like, "Hey, man, great set. Hey, awesome, yeah."
yeah, but
I'm.
imagine your friend is basically the only person that brought an audience and then they lose and they're like, "What?
I
Dave, did you vote for
imagine
me?" And he's like,
the club is like, "Wow, for the first time ever, you got 0 votes. We've never had anybody get 0 votes." And he's like, "I
"Yeah.
brought half the audience," and they're like,
Yeah.
"Wow, wow."
Yeah,
Even
well,
they.
that's it. Dude, at mine, and this isn't to shit on her because she did fine. Like, she was an okay performer or whatever. But the girl that won, she did. She brought like 70% of the audience. And so she won the audience vote, of course. But in the back of my head, I was like, I wonder if any of her friends were like, we did not realize she's not as good as as she
Oh.
said. Like, if one of them had to sit there for a minute, like, because I saw a lot of them before the show just filling out her name. And which fine, whatever. Again, I don't care. She won. But I wonder if there's anybody who had to sit there for a minute, like during the show, and be like, "Ooh, should I cross out her name and put this person instead?" That's got to be hard because then you know afterwards she's gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, I won! I can't." First of all, you can't say, "I can't believe I won," when you have most of the audience and that's a portion of the vote. Like you can't be like, "Wow, I can't believe I won." That's like showing up with the LA Lakers to play a high school basketball team and be like, "Oh, weird! I didn't expect LeBron James to dunk it so much." It's like, of course you did, of course. But it's okay to be happy. I just like, holy cow! Don't be surprised.
uh, that'd be funny for them to get mad at him, and be like, "Hey, what are you doing? You're too good. All right, stop. This is you can't come here anymore. You're too good."
It's just getting kicked out of a YMCA during a pickup game. Like, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, hey, we didn't agree to this, okay?
Okay,
All right, let me get into some questions. What is the
yeah.
best scent combination? Best scent combination.
On a man or a woman or just in general?
Uh, well, you could do. I mean, you can do that either way, or you could even consider, like, what would you want your house to smell like? You walk through the front door after work, and you're like, what do
Ooh.
you want to be greeted with?
And I'll tell you right now, I'm a big lavender guy.
Yeah, I've known that about you for some time.
I love the smell of lavender, but I will say, after coming back from China,
Oh,
there's
lavender
this
is your
like
energy.
greasy smell that would be outside of some of these restaurants that
Okay.
like greasy Chinese smell that I started to enjoy. But I also like the smell of gas at a gas station, like that
Well, yeah,
gas
we
smell
all
in the
do. We
air.
all do. We all do. I mean, there's even a little part of burnt hair that kind of like it makes me take a second whiff. Like
Oh, you
I
know
would
what? I'm terribly allergic to it. Fresh mowed grass. That's my all time.
really.
Yeah.
You would choose the thing you're allergic to.
Hmm. I
Okay.
love the smell of fresh mowed grass.
I gotta say that's probably the best allergy to have, though. Fresh mowed.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to, but I can't, babe. I'm allergic.
Oh yeah, after I mow the yard, I sound like I've been smoking cigarettes for the last 20 years.
Yeah,
Oh, it's rough.
and then just hang it over your wife's head and be like,
See what I do for you?
It's all right. It's all right. I've got the green lung. You've got a canary out there in a little cage just walking around like, as long as he's all right, I guess I'll be okay. I got the lung pop.
So how did Kayla become a widower? Well, you know, she had a big yard.
They moved out. They got a couple acres out
They got
there,
a couple
and
of acres, and he
yeah,
never came back.
they moved out to Hermitage and got a couple acres. And man,
Hermitage.
I was trying. I couldn't think of what are the nice what are the nice areas of Nashville.
Well, the good news is you still missed.
Did I? Is Hermitage not good?
Not really, no.
What
It's
was it?
like it's in my
Uh,
financial bracket, but it's not the place. Franklin, Mount
Mount
Juliet.
Juliet. There it is.
Yeah,
I almost said Mount Romeo,
yeah.
but I was like, ah, it's
People in
close.
Nashville are like, "Fuck you, Hermitage isn't great."
Isn't that where one of them lived? The president? Oh,
Andrew
president.
Jackson. Yeah, I want to get
Yeah.
wealthy enough to buy his land. I want to buy that site out from underneath him.
Good luck.
Yeah, we'll see
Yeah.
what happens. I'll get wealthy.
Good luck. Yeah, you'd have to be an like Elvis's manager level rich
The
to get.
irony is, if I could buy his land and then just give it to a Native American community, since he was so notorious for kicking the natives out of Tennessee. If I buy his former property and then just turn it into a reservation.
one of the one of the high schools near where we grew up, Jackson, Missouri, the town of Jackson, Missouri. The team mascot, the Indians,
Yeah.
and they recently took a poll and they were like, "Hey, should we change the name? Because it's not really, you know."
Is this as insensitive as it sounds?
Oh, it's worse. And they were like, send it like one of the one of the suggestions that somebody said they wanted to change it to was Injuns. IN apostrophe JUNS.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, whoa, that's a step backwards.
Do you remember in high school, because you played them in high school, do you remember when they would go
Oh, they still do it. They still do it.
yeah,
They
that's
still do it.
hilarious.
Yep.
Oh Lord.
Cheerleaders, concession stand people, just
I can say popcorn,
yeah.
popcorn. All right, we could go off on Southeast Missouri. Let's keep rolling. Let's keep rolling. Hit me with another one.
Hey,
I say fresh mowed grass.
hey, you know what? I have a confession to make. I did a podcast the other day, and I might have done the Asian voice, and then instantly was like, "Oops."
Hmm.
Yeah, and the guy I was with was like, "Oh," and I was like, "Don't bring attention to it. Don't bring
Ah,
attention to it."
you
I'm
know
sorry.
what though? When I would tell stories from China and you would talk like the way my students would talk, even without doing the voice, you sound racist. Like if you just did the broken English they did to like prove a point of what was being said, you'll
I'm
never win. You're
I'm
too
doing
white, Eric.
I'm learning Spanish. I'm almost 90 days in, going straight. And I've been learning Spanish and I've been wanting to test out my Spanish, but you can't there's no way to just approach someone and be like, can I speak Spanish to you?" Because they're like, "That's racist."
When you can't fire from the hip because there's nothing more condescending than watching a white person struggle through your native tongue at you.
Nosotros somos vestidos nuevos rojos para la fiesta.
There's something about a red party.
No, we need new red dresses for the party.
See, I was close.
I did that on stage one time. I like saying things that don't make really any sense, but like, because like coming from me, I'm 6'6", 300 pounds, and if I was like, nosotros vestidos nuevos rojo para la fiesta, you'd be like, what is that? And it's like, we need new dresses for the party. I've been walking around. I've been walking around the house, and I've been like, I'll just like stop and like glare at my kids, and say something like, "Tú no quieres un problema con el jefe." Like, you don't want a problem with the boss, like that. And they're just like, I don't know what that means. I bought Duolingo, the family plan. So like my family could all get together and like, oh, let's all learn a language together. It'll be fun. It'll be like a group activity. my my son chose German.
Hell yeah.
To, I guess, impress the fatherland. My wife chose music, so she's learning how to read sheet music.
Okay.
To, I guess she's gonna call birds to help her get dressed in the morning.
Hey, yeah.
And then my
She's like,
daughter chose French, which I mean, I guess I understand, but I was like, "Hey guys, let's all learn Spanish," and they were like, "Nah, we want to learn how to communicate less with you."
I do like that you're the only one that chose a language that's going to be useful in the future.
That's what I said.
Every teenage girl wants to learn French because they think that is going to be
Sexy,
like,
yeah.
yeah, like there's going to be a romantic thing where they're like,
Uh,
parlez-vous
and
français?
then
And
I
you're
could
like,
go to
oui.
Paris and
Yeah.
I would drink the cocoa and eat the croissant. And
And
you're
then you
like,
meet a French guy and you're like, ah,
oh, you
shit.
guys are creepy and you stink
Yeah.
and you're bad at World War II. Like,
In fact, all your children should have learned Mandarin because that is their coming overlord.
I told him that. I was like, hey, you guys might want to polish up on some Chinese. Like, that might
Yeah.
come in handy.
If you guys like TikTok, wait until China takes over. You're gonna love a lot of stuff.
All right,
Yikes.
I got like 3 minutes left before it kicks us off. So let me ask you:
Okay.
best meal for under $10?
Best meal under $10. Oh, you know what? $5 biggie bag
Yeah, yeah,
from
from
Wendy's
Wendy's. Yeah,
with a frosty.
they
With a
u-
frosty.
they used to do the 4 for $4.
I know. Now they got the $5 biggie bag. But you get like a sandwich, nugs, drink, fries,
Nugs,
news,
nugs.
and then you throw a frosty in there, you're just under the $10 mark.
Mm.
Yeah. And all your caloric intake for the week.
Okay, all right, I'm
Oh
with
yeah.
that. All right, I was gonna go rotisserie chicken, but that's just the white trash for
Sure.
me.
If you're trying to feed other people.
Not when you're my size.
Well, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah.
I was about to say, cut to me at 2 a.m. eating shirtless an entire bird with just a bottle of hot sauce next to me.
Imagine a Viking somehow getting transported to modern times and seeing you and being like, brethren. And then they're like, oh, you're feasting on your wins for that nice dish with a rotisserie chicken in front of a TV at 2 a.m.
I do feel like I'd make a pretty good Viking. I mean,
Yeah,
I sometimes I think I was born in the wrong time,
you
you
were.
know. And
You're definitely out of
I've
place.
had people tell me they'll be like, "Yeah, you do look like you would be good at like pillaging." I'm
Think
like,
about how simple that life would be.
"Thank you, thank you." Yeah, how simple would life be if I was a
Fine.
pillager?
Oh, that's all it is. That's all those big, angry white guys. They're just walking around with the knowledge that they can squish people, but that
Mm.
they're not allowed to, and so they get cucked by a 40-pound guy who uses better language than him. You know what I mean? Some guy's like, I think you meant apostrophe S, and there's a guy your size being like, in other times I could fucking squish
Oh,
you.
there's so many times. You know how many times in like math class growing up where I would have some guy who is a third my body weight and they're like, this is so easy. How do you not know how to solve for X? And it's like, because that's not what I'm designed for. I'm designed for
Yeah,
crushing your head. That's what I'm
yeah.
designed for. Yeah. You're
They
designed for
force
storing grain for the winter.
yeah.
I'm designed for stealing your grain for
You're part
my
of the
winter.
Your wife will appreciate this, but you're like a Nephilim that was forced to be a human. Like you just don't have a choice.
Yeah, yeah. I'm an elephant that that got bewitched. It's like now you have to do stand up comedy.
And if you ever get kissed by your true love elephant, you'll go back to your true form. So that's why you don't go to the zoo anymore.
It's true. They kept kicking me out. They wouldn't let me jump the bars. All right, we got less than 1 minute. You want to plug any social media or shows or anything coming up?
Yeah, yeah. At Yetman MT, Yetman MT on all socials. And then Nashville Hot is my weekly show in downtown Nashville. It's just a weekly showcase of Nashville's best up and coming. It's at Nashville Underground every Thursday, 8 p.m.
Cool. Well, I think the second one was a decent
Yeah,
success. Yeah, yeah.
we'll keep playing with it.
Yeah,
We'll
we'll
keep
keep
doing it.
playing with it, keep getting better, you know. But thanks for letting me test it out on you.
Yeah, brother. No
Yeah.
problem.